Well, unfortunately, the problem with living in a secular society and living in a society that has a lot of people that are atheists, that have no belief system at all, is you find a belief system. And that's a lot of these people that call themselves atheists, or they've subscribed to the religion of woke.
So here's Joe Rogan doing his thing, saying we subscribe to the religion of woke because, we don't have a religion to shove down everybody's throat and force everybody to live in accordance with. And that's a problem. That's a problem when, people actually have compassion for other people that don't live or look exactly like them. That's a big problem. So anyway, we're going to get into it. I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. So, like I said, this is Joe Rogan. He's this is Ruslan. Actually, I'm sorry. Ruslan is covering Joe Rogan, and he's pointing out that hey, even Rogan's saying that everybody needs Jesus in order to be like not crazy people or whatever. So let's get into it. Let's see what they got to say.
We need Jesus. We need Jesus.
Joe Rogan makes a bold claim about us needing Jesus, and this is not clickbait. Unironically, him and Aaron Rodgers sit down, jumping into.
All right, let me just say, yes, it is. Okay, anytime Joe Rogan says anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Yes, it's clickbait. That's of course why he does this. He brings people on and then just like nods along with their nonsense, in order to get clicks. And unfortunately, it works because there's a lot more credulous people than there are not.
The need for Jesus and how it goes off the rails when we don't have faith as the driving factor. Hey, but before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan. This channel exists.
Keep in mind, like when he says that, we don't have pretending to know stuff we couldn't possibly know as a driving factor. That's the problem. The problem is not, we can't just act like we're right, even though we have literally no evidence to demonstrate that we are right.
To encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God. If you're new here or if you're not new here, please hit that subscribe button. Now let's get into this video.
That highlighter noise is jarring. Okay, I don't know why these YouTubers keep putting it in there because it's almost like a nail on a chalkboard type of situation when it's turned up loud enough. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. It's like who writes with a highlighter that hard? They just like anyway.
And then the new people as they come into place, these are people that are they're growing up with the internet. It's a different understanding and reality of life itself.
But don't you think there has to be some sort of field of value that can orient people into like, hey, let's do things a little bit better because these things actually matter. There is right and wrong. There is morality. There is certain
well, unfortunately, the problem.
Well, it's so weird when they do this. So it's like, oh, this is like why we need to push Jesus on everybody because otherwise, there's no such thing as right and wrong. When all of us individually determine what is right and wrong. And it's like they want it to be this universal thing. They want to act like theirs is universal, but all you end up with is people that believe their subjective interpretation of what they believe their God wants is objective morality. And it's just their subjective opinion that their morality happens to be the objective kind. It's like,
with living in a secular society and living in a society that has a lot of people that are atheists, that have no belief system at all, is you find
the fuck does that mean too? Like, what the hell? Like, we don't have any belief system at all. That's it. That because we don't have a single, it's because again, like atheism is just the answer to one question. And so just because we answer that question with the obvious, I'm not convinced that a God exists, and that's it. That's all atheism is, but that means we have no beliefs whatsoever. We don't believe anything, we're just walking around just thinking nothing all the time, It's like, Jesus, you're taking like the answer to one question and acting like it means all this other stuff that it just doesn't mean.
Belief system. And that's a lot of these people that call themselves atheists, or they've subscribed to the religion of woke. Their God is equity and inclusiveness.
That's okay. It's not a God, you moron. It's a way to behave and way to think about things from a perspective that isn't like a narrow-minded moron, that's just like, my way is the only way. The only thing that matters is the white, straight, cisgendered Christian narrative. That's the only thing that matters. We should write legislation like we're the only people that exist, and maybe even vilify the people that are outside of this little, demographic here.
Your God is this.
So Joe Rogan is now throwing shots, not just the typical equity wokesters stuff. He's throwing jabs at
Wokesters.
the problem with growing up in a secular society, an irreligious society, which is, I don't think I would have ever seen the day of, I don't think I've ever seen the day of Joe Rogan having an issue with secular society, non-religious society.
Oh, I did. As soon as he realized that most of the people that watch him because he'll sit there and bend over backwards to comfort the crazy conspiracy nutbags, and he's like, oh man, I have to pander to these people. And the one thing that seems to be, it seems that they all have in common, they all are Christian for some reason. It's amazing. The people that believe in the most idiotic conspiracy crap, that he brings on his show, they also always happen to be Christian. It's crazy. It's almost like that kind of thinking leads to worse thinking down the line. You know what I mean?
Talking the way folks talked about when they used the word secular to throw away all their secular CDs.
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of all my secular CDs, guys.
That's the type of secular. It's like, what, man? What are you talking about? He's just like, oh, so they were even using the word secular to mean what, Christians used when they say the word secular. So that's, that's pretty cool. All right. Joe Rogan sounding like he's using secular the same way Christians do. So good. That's awesome. He's a Christian now. He's probably a Christian.
Yeah.
The problem with secular society. Wow.
And the inverse, meaning that like the better way to live is with a belief system, a religious, theistic belief system.
They just keep getting more specific. The way to live is with a belief system, because he was just saying that atheists have no belief system. It's a theistic belief system. Oh, it's like the Christian theistic. Like, who gets to decide which version of Christianity is the one that rules us all, man? You all divide over literally nothing. If you just believe that people make choices, then you got a whole world of Calvinists coming down on you, going, no, you don't. You don't choose shit. Jesus does, and they're like, all right, because we got to divide over this. Who gets to run the country? The Calvinists or us?
Like the better way to live is with a belief system, a religious, theistic belief system.
Wow. It's ideology that they think that you have to subscribe to. And that's why it's spooky, because human beings seem to have a very strong desire for some sort of order and form and some sort of pattern that they can follow that seems to be the right way to go. And they can be led. They can be led by cults. They can be led by groups of people. They can be led by, intolerant governments and evil armies and corrupt politicians. They can be led.
And so your answer is they should be led by the thing that is typically at the center of most cults, which is Christianity. I mean, if you look at like most of the cults that we've had here in America, like, David Koresh, shit like that, like it's all like, it's just extremist Christianity. That's all it is.
But I think as
when
time
you don't have God, the government becomes God.
Yikes.
Another system becomes God.
Yeah, thank you. Star Song said, atheism is not a belief system. It may be part of a belief system, which, it's one aspect of it, that we don't believe in a God. It's not even that we don't, that atheism doesn't even necessarily mean that you don't believe in supernatural shit. You can believe in supernatural shit and still believe in and still not believe in a God, so it's really just the claim that does a God exist? We say, I'm not convinced that's true. That's it. It's a nah to another claim. That's all it is, and they act like that's a whole system. It's a whole belief system. Or it's impossible to have any kind of belief system. It's like the pendulum just swings completely the opposite ways for whatever reason with these people. It's either that, like I said, that it is this full on belief system, or that we have no belief system. And I feel like he's gone back and forth on that, even just now, within like a couple of minutes. It's like, which is it, man? Do we believe in nothing or not? But let's see. Let me get some comments here. Damn, everybody's been here for a minute. Huh? Star Song said, I've been, let me make it bigger. I keep on like not being able to see this thing for some reason. All right. I've been told I'm woke. I don't know what that even is, except the extremists use it for anything they don't like. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. Any type, okay, as far as I can tell, any kind of advocacy for people that don't look and believe exactly like them. Not even necessarily you, but like me. Like I advocate for people that look like me and believe like me too. Like atheists are a minority, technically speaking. But it's any kind of people that advocate for themselves, and you being like, yeah, cool, you go advocating for yourself. Yeah, totes. No, I'll totally back you up, dude. Like that's if we're doing that, oh, woke, you're woke. You're supposed to be against them because you deserve more power than they get. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be the one that decides what they're allowed to do. And here you are just saying that they're right about advocating for themselves. What are you even doing here, man? You need to learn how to be an authoritarian, an anti. That's really what it boils down to. It's just like this authoritarian mindset that is like, I get to decide what all the people that don't look and think exactly like me are allowed to do. I mean, like, I know I'm allowed to get married. Okay, I'm allowed, but I'll tell you what, those two guys should not be allowed. Okay, because I decide what's allowed when it comes to marriage. Okay, and my religion created marriage. Okay, so that's why I get to decide. And it's like, and like, no, man, no, you don't get to decide shit like that. For like, we all have to live in this society together, man. Like, why is this difficult? And it's difficult because all these people are being programmed by all of the bullshit that they watch all the time. They're like, you need to be mad about this. You need to be mad about this. You need to be mad. Like, that's like constantly. And they're like, I should totally be mad about this. I don't know why, but I feel like I should be mad. I should be mad. Yeah. The phone is totally right about what I should feel. It's like so fucking stupid. Let me see here. Star Song said, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. I have heard this one before. I disagree. Christians use this one a lot. I like the way it sounds. Don't get me wrong. It's like a cool saying and everything. But I disagree. I think if you don't stand for a pursuit of truth, then you'll fall for everything. That's the answer there, I think, because what this ends up being, used for is to get people to double down on beliefs that they have that are irrational, and then act like they are right about it, right? And they constantly love to cite this, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything, which no, it's if you stand for truth or a pursuit of truth and being an honest pursuit of truth is really what it should be, then you'll fall for everything, But that's why I like what I stand for is a pursuit of truth, and do my best to be honest with myself about that fact, and do my best to try to, if I get something wrong, okay, I'll let you know. I'm just like, oh shit, okay, my bad, fuck, because we get, humans get things wrong. That's all right, updating our position it's a good thing, not a bad thing, but they would see it as a bad thing, to just like be like, oh, maybe I could be mistaken. Like, you can't think that if you're a Christian, if you're standing for Christianity, you can't think that. Like, I could not possibly be mistaken. Everybody else has to be mistaken. Reality is what's mistaken. Of course, animals can talk. That's what, but let's see here. Star Sun said, every time we try to regulate disinformation, you're suppressing my free speech, except they're passing it off as facts, not opinion. Yeah, dude. No, disinformation specifically, I would say disinformation. I mean, misinformation is like pretty bad too, but disinformation has like this purposeful notion to it. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's on purpose. They are trying to confuse people. They're trying to lie to people, and show them like some, kind of like a facts. If you put a couple facts out there, but you leave out enough facts for it to, lead to a particular conclusion that they're trying to push you towards, that is what I would consider disinformation, right? And that's so much worse than like misinformation, where you just like get something wrong because we're in such a fast-paced society that like the news is moving at lightning fucking speed. And you're going to get stuff wrong. And then a lot of these places, they think they see it as a lot of these news sources, they don't want to do corrections and stuff. But corrections actually show that you actually are at least trying on some level to report the truth, because there's no company that's going to get absolutely everything right. That's just insane. Of course, that's not how it works, right? Anyway, Michael said, these people are so tunnel vision. I know, right? It's like they're stuck. And they're like, man, if everybody would just be my religion, then we'd all get along. Okay, well, everybody isn't your fucking religion. Now what do we do? Well, they just need to start being it. Well, at least can they pretend? I'll tell you what. We'll make legislation that forces people to at least pretend or at least act like they're my religion. There's consequences if you don't believe, the stuff that I believe, like especially like about when life begins or whatever, and stuff like that. Like you go by what we decide. And then we'll legislate that. So that way there's consequence. They just can't just be out there fucking for fun. There's got to be consequences, It's so gross. But that is like, I straight up, that's exactly what it is. It's like the consequences thing for abortion. I'm talking about a consequences thing. And it's also like this method of just manufacturing desperation. Get people desperate, then they have to go to work, then they can't question their boss, then they have to we all just have to keep our head down doing everything we're told. It's pretty obvious, like when they just want everybody to be as desperate as humanly fucking possible. Anyway, Christopher said before JRE, oh Joey, okay, like a decade or so ago, or like a decade or so ago. Yeah. Some friends dragged me to Sacramento for a Joe Rogan stand-up, and I was the only one that hated it. I'm so grateful now to be the odd one out. I know, right? Yeah, dude. I never really cared for Joe Rogan. I always thought that he wasn't very good. He was just kind of like boilerplate comedy, and I love comedy, and I remember during COVID, I watched every stand-up special that existed, not even just on like Netflix, which there's hundreds on Netflix. I watched everyone on there. I watched everyone on like HBO, everyone, just any channel that I had that had any kind of like comedy section, stand-up comedy section. I watched all of it, and I started Joe Rogan's like a few times, and that he ended up coming in dead last because I was just like, I don't feel like watching this every single time. I would go to like watch literally anybody. I'd watch Cat Williams and shit before I'd watch Joe Rogan, like anybody, before him. It's just so it's just like, yeah, I don't think he's a very good comedian, to be perfectly honest. And everything that he's doing here is now just a big grift. It's just like, let's let it's giving a voice to like the virality of the internet. That's what it is. It's like it's trying to pour gas on viral shit. He wants clips to go viral, so that's why he's constantly having people on that are saying complete and utter fucking nonsense. And then be like, wow, man, I know, that's mind-blowing. And he like opens his eyes all wide, and then they use that for their thumbnail. They're like, man, this like Joe Rogan's like, we should talk about this. It's just like an internet, YouTube fucking viral machine, it seems. But it unfortunately, the stuff that spreads is the dumbass shit, the misinformation, mostly the disinformation, really. But Star Song said, atheism is not a belief system. It may be part of one. Yeah, we started with that. That is absolutely true. It's just the answer to one claim. That's it. It could literally mean anything. Or I mean, it couldn't literally mean anything, but it's you can believe just about anything other than a God exists. Let's see. Michael said, spooky and religion is merely an accepted cult. Basically, I mean, I think there is like some like what we would call like distinctions between religion and cult, but it's funny because it's so similar, that it's difficult. It's difficult to really parse it out. You know what I mean? Because like I think one of the main ways that, or one of the main things that people bring up when they're talking about a cult is how they treat apostates. You know, that's a big one. Can you be an apostate and still like, you know, remain part of your family? Shit like that. But it's but as you can see, they have to kind of split hairs, because, you know, cult is this super like crazy negative thing, this brainwashy thing, and religion's this, oh, it's just this normal thing that everybody does. Religion is just totally normal. Cults is crazy, oh, it's just extremist, you know. But religion is just, you know, fluffy, and that's where grandma goes. You know, grandma just enjoys herself. That should, and they don't realize that it's basically the same thing, you know. And the any differences that there are, it's not much, you know, it's not much at all. And it really just seems to be a matter of degree, you know, or obsession, you know, right? But yeah, let's see. Oh, Logan's here. What's up, man? Just because you bow to God doesn't mean everyone else does too. Exactly. And yeah, and I'm saying like we need like what, like there has to be a right and wrong, you know. That just drives me crazy when they use that. And it's like, dude, there's who's gotten the right and wrong thing wrong throughout history, just in general, just who's gotten it wrong the fucking most? The Christians, man. It has slavery in there. It says you can like murder your own child if you know, if they talk back or get drunk. Probably get drunk before they talk back. That's probably, you know, all in one. Anyway, and you can take them outside the town and be like, all right, y'all ready to kill my child? You know, and they're like, we got rocks, let's do it. And that's in the Bible, you know. But you know, that's the morality, the objective moral standard that we should be following. Really? The book that says that you can have slaves and murder your kids, that's wonderful, but abortion's a problem, you know. It's like, even though, again, Numbers chapter 5 verse 11 says that even if a woman believes, or if a man even believes that his woman is property, of course, you know, his woman is pregnant from somebody else, he can force her to get an abortion. It's in Numbers chapter 5. I don't know how Christians miss that verse all the time. It's insane. But and that's still not choice, by the way. You know, we're still not for that. That's not. It's just to make it clear, I'm not for biblical abortion, because I'm for choice, and that clearly removes the choice in the opposite direction. But anyway, let's see what we got here. Let's see, Norfolk. Hey, what's up? Lack of belief. Yeah, thank you. Lack of belief in a God. It's somebody says a God exists, and we're like, nope, no, I don't think that's true, and that's it. That's all it is. Right. Kaz said, did you see when Joe Rogan was on Kill Tony? He's so unfunny and awkward. Oh no, really? Okay, we might have to find this. Can you I have, if you go to my community section, I have a link for the Discord in one of the photos. If you want to, like, if you could maybe put that in there, that'd be awesome if we could all see what you're talking about. But I'll look it up after anyway, because that sounds really interesting, and I think I might cover it next time if I can parse out a good little clip of it. Let's see. Rogan said, Rogan. I'm sorry. Holy shit, Logan. I don't know how to bounce back from that. That is from the bottom of my heart. I did not mean to call you Rogan. Okay, that was seriously uncool, and I don't. All right, I'm going too long with this. Logan said, never thought Joe was all that funny. Yeah, he's not. He's I mean, most of what he got famous for was like taking other comedians down. You know, that was like his thing. Like, they stole jokes and everything. And don't get me wrong, like, don't steal jokes. You know what I mean? And I don't know what I don't know why I'm on this tangent, but like, I don't know what the amount of specificity it takes before it is now a stolen joke, you know, because I feel like people joke about the same types of stuff all the time. But I guess what the punchline has to be exactly the same. The movements have to be the same. The pantomime, like the voice, like, I don't know. I don't know what makes it a stolen joke. I'm always curious about that. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't want to steal jokes or anything, of course, you know, but I joke about a lot of the same stuff that other people do. Do I, I don't know. It's like, I couldn't imagine having to worry about that as a comedian in this day and age with the internet, where they're gonna be like, look, they said it first. And he's like, I didn't know he said that. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know why I'm on that tangent. Let's see here. Logan said, decent fighter and commentator. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, credit where credit's due, right? I don't know. I never saw him fight. Commentator, again, I've never really seen him do that. So I don't really know. But okay, cool. I don't know. Let's see. Kat said, yeah, he's considered a comedian. It's purely like, it's like he's considered that on a technicality. Like, technically, he's a comedian, sure, right? Like, yeah, he's a comedian on a technicality. That's hi. Hey, Atheist Mo's back, and he's high. All right, Mo. Go get some chips. Get some chips, some Cheetos, But get a napkin too, because you don't want to get that stuff all over your phone or your computer. It's not fun. Let's see here. Star Song says you should have an open mind, just not so open that your brain falls out. Now that one I do like. I do like that one. It always reminds me of the. I was just thinking about this the other day. There was a debate that I watched with, oh shit, what's that guy's name? Deepak Chopra and Shermer. And Deepak Chopra does this like Tarkesian thing where you question your mind, like you get so deep that you're like, how do we know that our mind's working and everything? Like, how do we know we're not dreaming? That kind of stuff. And that was like what, and if you're like questioning all of your reality as something that's being manipulated, and things like that, and Sherman was like, we call that like one thought. He cited somebody, I can't remember their name, but he said that we call it one thought too far. That's one thought too far. Like once you start like cynically questioning all of reality, that's one thought too far. Like you've now questioned too much, like that Tarkesian kind of like whatever, just like you can't know that stuff, and and it's just like, okay, this is useless. This kind of this kind of questioning is not very helpful, I don't think. I mean, it's a fun thought experiment, fun thing to think about a little bit, but it's not, if you're using that as arguments, which people do a lot, they love to have those philosophical debates where they're like, but how do we even know reality is real? And then you just kind of have to be, I remember Shane, the skeptic, was in a debate and he's like, look, if we can't agree that reality is real, then there's no point in having this conversation. Okay. There's no point here. Okay. And he's right. Absolutely right. Because that's like one of the basic presuppositions that we have to agree upon, even to have the fucking conversation, Anyway, do a couple more. Logan said, do you hear Alabama ruled frozen embryos are human? Did I read that right? I keep reading these wrong. I feel like did you hear Alabama ruled frozen embryos are okay, okay, I got you. Okay. Did you hear that Alabama ruled that frozen embryos are humans? Wow, dude. Okay. Wow. See, this nothing means anything, if you can if you have like a political agenda that you need to push, it doesn't matter what words mean. Embryos are people, whatever, fuck it. Anything can be anything if you're crazy enough, Jesus. Or if you're like willing to try to control women's bodies enough, we can just rewrite reality and make anything else as long as it controls women, right? Jesus Christ. Michael said, oh, I'm sorry. Star Song said, Michael, move to Iran. Yes, give them a taste of real religious theocracy. Then they might realize how good they have it here. Yeah, in a secular society. Exactly. That's funny.
Something else. People are naturally going to worship something. Mm-hmm. And so if you remove God from the equation.
What the fuck? Why does everybody say that? Do y'all like hear this a lot? Why? Like, we're like, shit, I'm not worshiping God anymore. I guess I better worship. Because does anybody have a statue? I need a statue, preferably a golden calf. We could do that. That'd be great. That would just I could always just refer back to that, since I have to be worshiping stuff all the time. What, man? No, we don't have to worship anything, man. In fact, it's fucking weird. Who worships stuff? Like, why? Why do you worship stuff? That's just so strange. You mean that people enjoy things? People like stuff? Like, liking stuff is not the same thing as worshiping stuff. There's a difference there. Typically, I would argue that worship specifically has to do with like doing something in exchange for reality being some way that you want. You know what I mean? So, like, in other words, they want to like they'll worship their god in exchange for like the hope and whatever that their life's going to be protected by that god, right? And I think the same thing as far as like idols go, or any other god, or like any pagan thing, right? When they do rituals, it's all like to ask God for prosperity, or ask destiny or whatever for prosperity, and a relationship, a love spell, whatever. It's all to get something back out of reality. You worship something in an attempt to get something back out of reality, I think. Now, I could be mistaken. Let me know in the chat if you disagree with that definition of worship, but that makes sense to me. But at the same time, just like, yeah, that's exactly why you don't have to worship anything. It's insane to say that we have to worship stuff. That's why they're always trying to straw man and say that we worship ourselves as gods, because they're like, well, you think you can decide what's right and what's wrong, so you believe you're a god. And it's like, dude, everybody decides what they think right and wrong is, regardless if it's like you just happen to agree, your opinion happens to agree with a particular religious doctrine, but there's millions of doctrines, dude, like, and they're all different. Like, so everybody does individually determine what is right and wrong. We can get mad about that all the day, and there's a lot of people that agree on the basics, but that doesn't I don't know, it's so frustrating how they get off on this type of tangents, trying to saddle us with shit that's just not real, that we're just like worshiping ourselves. And it's like, no, us like just being honest about how you determine right and wrong is not worshiping yourself. Holy shit.
They're just going to fill that void with something else. Right now, it's government, it's authoritarianism, it's suppression of information. That's the stuff we're seeing, but it's always going to be something.
It's so interesting too, and I'm sorry, I keep on pausing it. But they're going to fill this void. If you like are conditioning yourself to believe there's a void, you know what I mean? That you like need something to be happy, which that is some deep programming that religious people put into children and their congregants and everything else. That you need this, you need this, you need this. It's just a mechanism to keep people coming back to the religion, right? And they don't realize that actually creates huge problems for people, because when the religion thing doesn't work out, they will, because they've been conditioned to believe that, because that's not true. You don't have to have a void in your heart or whatever. But if you're conditioned to believe that you do, then that you're going to behave that way, whether it's true or not, but only because you've been, brainwashed basically into believing that life is worthless or whatever. You're always going to be seeking something that, you're always going to be looking for something to fill this natural void that's inside of you. But the truth is it's not there, dude. Just relax, enjoy life. There is no void. Just do your best to have fun. I'm going to start a philosophy called funism. Is that a thing already? There's already a funism, isn't there? I'm going to do this. I'm going to write a book.
Right? On the right, it would be materialism, right? Consumerism, greed. Mm-hmm. People are always going to replace God with something if they don't have a proper relationship with God. So I think
you just said that's on the right. That's like mostly Christians on the right? And yet they're all doing the consumerism thing. Isn't that like idolatry or whatever? That's bad. I don't know.
Very astute.
But then my point is, like, on the left, what do they got? They're like, and they just care about people too much, They just, I care about like poor people and stuff, even homeless. But like, who cares about homeless people? And the left does. What? They're so woke. Those wokesters.
Assessment on his part.
Totally.
rolls on, people are going to understand the need to have some sort of divine structure to things, some sort of belief in the sanctity of love and of truth. And a lot of that comes from religion.
Okay, who gets to decide which religion, and then who gets to decide which interpretation, and then who gets to decide the doctrine that is being interpreted, and then who gets to decide the denomination that has the doctrine that's being interpreted? Who gets to decide all this stuff, man? Because y'all can't fucking do it. Okay, you've tried. Okay, and all it does is end up pissing off more people than it does bringing anybody together.
A lot of people,
as I think is evidenced by that "he gets us" thing, you know, who freaked out about that one the most? The fucking Christians, because they're like, you can't talk about Jesus without my permission.
Moral compass and the guidelines that they've used to follow to live a just and righteous life has come from religion. And unfortunately, a lot of very intelligent people.
No, it hasn't, dude. That's just not true. Like most of the stuff where people were owning slaves and, you know, beating their children and shit like that were because of religion. You know, not to say that religion doesn't get some things right. Like, yeah, treat your neighbor as yourself. But the thing is, they get to redefine neighbor, and they do quite a bit. Well, the gay person's not your neighbor. You don't have to empathize with them. Okay, they're not your neighbor. All right. If they are, they're like a bad neighbor that throws parties at 3 a.m. and doesn't even care about your sleeping infant in the next room. That's the type of neighbor they are.
They dismiss all the positive aspects of religion because they think that the stories are mere superstitious fairy tales, that, you know, they have no place in this modern world, and, you know, we're inherently good and your ethics are based on your own moral compass and we all have one.
We don't dismiss it because it's based on fairy tales. And what I don't know what he means, like the positive aspects of Christianity, but we don't, you know, if there's a positive aspect to it, we're fine with that. I don't give a shit. You know, if people are like, oh, you know, Jesus was cool because he said to like care about the poor people and everything, you know, and treat people the way that, you would want to be treated or whatever, you know, do unto others type of shit. I'd be like, cool, yeah, that's good stuff to live by. Yeah, totes, you know. But that's not where it ends. That's the problem. And all of those things have caveats. Like I just was saying, you know, treat others the way that, you know, you would want to be treated, and you would want people to force you to behave like your religion. So better do that for everybody else, which is why you should treat people the way they want to be treated, not the other way around. Because just because you like to get shamed into behaving like your religion more doesn't mean that everybody else does. Okay.
Literally talking about himself.
It's about talking about himself 10 years ago. He's cooking. I mean, I just saw a video of Nate.
That is a weird face they froze on there. He looks like a garbage pail kid, doesn't he? Why does he? I could just see him crawling out of the fucking.
Why is the cyber
the trash can with the other Muppet things, whatever.
He did a video about Sam Harris destroying the Bible and the Quran in 5 minutes, and his big opposition was, it seems like the Bible condones slavery.
Yeah,
and so it literally does. It literally does, man. In multiple places. It's in Exodus and it's in Leviticus, and it's very specific in Leviticus. Okay, you know, it's disgusting the stuff that book condones. At one point, it condones like sex slavery of, you know. Anyway, yeah, it's really bad.
Very brief moment just surgically explains incrementalism, how God never designed slavery, just like he never designed polygamy, but he allowed certain things to thrive. And so it's like, to Joe Rogan's point, he is talking about people remove like you're plucking one thing that you really don't understand of the context of the same book you're criticizing is the same book they used to overthrow slavery. Literally.
Yeah.
That's what the abolitionists were inspired by. And then you're picking one thing out, which you don't understand, and then you're dismissing all the other amazing benefits to faith in Jesus, right? So
he's like, just because they got slavery kind of wrong because they mentioned it a couple of times, but then they start just saying that the other positive aspects, because look, all of the positive aspects or whatever they're talking about, all is because like it was forced on them like 90% of the time by secular people, like by people that are like, hey, we're just in a society, we have to function like a society, we can't have people, you know, you treating people this unfairly and everything, and they're like, all right, fine. Let's update our interpretation of the Bible to keep these people happy. That's what it always ends up being. And then they sit there and be like, well, we're the original source of all morality. Then why have you had to change it so many times, man? Why do you keep having to update it? Why couldn't your God get it right from the fucking beginning, man? It's ridiculous. All right, let me get some comments here. Let's see. Okay, I do remember him on. Okay, I forgot about that. Yeah, Cass said he was on. He was only great on Fear Factor, which is true because that's exactly his kind of humor. Is like bully humor, like eat the gross thing, like douchebag, kind of like, I don't know, being mean to each other type of stuff where you like hit your friends in the balls and shit like that. You're like, yeah, we're men, awesome. That type of humor, and I feel like Fear Factor was just like, it just, all those douchebags that that behaved like that were like, we need to make up a game show, bro. We need to make up a game show, yeah. And then they did. And they're like, Joe fucking Rogan should be the, and then he was. I see. Logan said, a patient got into a freezer holding embryos and dropped them, aborting hundreds of babies. Oh my God. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, I just committed genocide by accident. Shit. Because I dropped the I'm like, those were little people walking around in there. What are you doing? That thing was like, that was basically a whole society of people in there, man. You just, wow. Okay. You basically just did a Thanos. What the fuck, man? Well, I just dropped the embryo. What? Really? So stupid. Oh, that's funny. Atheist Mo, while high, said, well said, Star Song. And then, yes, he's talking about this one. Yes. And high atheist Mo is right. I totally agree with high. I'm sorry. I just have to mess with you a little bit. Okay. So, because he's high, you're like, wow, man, he's telling everybody I'm high. Hey, Amber, what's up? How we doing? Star Song said, hello, Amber. Everybody saying hi, which is great. Everybody say hi. That's wonderful. Maya. Hey, Maya's here. What's up? No, I'm not at 1K subs yet. Okay. I think I keep upsetting people. That's what the problem is. I say something that gets people mad, and they're all like, "Where the fuck out of here?" Okay, because he made me mad. I don't know what I said, but no, I'll get like 5 and then like lose 6, and then I'll get like 7 and then lose 8, and then it's just like it's just kind of okay. So I'm just in the same like 2 or 3 subs number. But no, how are you doing, Maya? Maya was just on the line with Shannon fucking Q. Maya was there. It was great. It was a really good stream. Did a great job too. That was a lot of fun to watch, and I enjoy those call-in shows. I'm like nervous to do it. Like I don't, because there's a couple people have asked me like, "Were you going to go on there?" And I was like, I don't know. I just it's 3 hours long, right? You have to sit there for 3 hours. That's one. 2, it's always in the evening, so my meds are wearing off. That's which is a huge concern for me. Okay, because this thing doesn't work right when I'm not. But and yeah, it's you got to be ready for anything, and at times, like Shannon is a perfect example of like, holy shit, some of the stuff that they were like, hey, what do you think about this? And they do this complex argument or whatever, and she's just like, nah, I know all about that. And then boom, 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 and I'm like, how the fuck does she know about that? When did she? What? How did all these people know about all this stuff? When does all this information just fall in my brain as an atheist? Jesus fuck, it's incredible. So yeah, but yeah, definitely go check out Maya on the line. I can't remember which. It's just the line. You'll see it. You'll see it. It's with Shannon Q. It's like one of the most recent ones. But yeah, definitely check that out. Anyway, let's see. Oh, saying hi. Michael said, It's the life cycle of belief. Similar ideas gather, then cult, with time and acceptance, religion, then with time and education, myths. Ah, I see. Oh, so it's like a cycle. That's an interesting way to look at it. I never really thought of it that way, but it does kind of seem to play out that way, because you would think, like, in our modern era, like, we wouldn't have myths and everything. Like, we'd have enough, like, ability to verify shit that, like, people wouldn't believe in myths and everything. And that's just not true. Like, it's absolutely myths or conspiracy or whatever you want to call it, urban legends, whatever, permeates the culture now, almost worse than before we had the internet. So it's kind of interesting how that works. That does make a lot of sense. It's like a little cycle. Huh. That's really fascinating. Never thought about that. Let's see. Ember said it's criminal that several channels aren't over 1K. 100K, to be honest. I know, right? I mean, come on, that's what I was thinking, especially some of these, like, skeptic channels that, I've been watching, like Maya, like Ember's channel. Like, there's so many good skeptic channels. Here's another one, Deep State Annex. Excellent stuff. Hello, abortion's not a problem. Numbers 511 through 22. Yeah, thank you. There it is, 511 through 22. And basically says that they give the woman poisonous water. Like, I don't know. They make it like it's a spell. Like, they say it's a spell, but it sounds like it's some kind of, like, I don't know, moldy water or water that's, like, left. Something that makes you sick. You know what I mean? And they give it to the woman, and she gets sick enough to force a miscarriage. And that sounds like a fucking abortion to me. I don't, and it's so funny when I bring that one up online in my little online debates. These people, I don't really do them too much anymore, but, like, these people it's so funny, because when you bring that verse up, they don't know it. A lot of these fundies, they have no idea what you're even talking about. So then they go look it up, they read it, and then they come up back. They, like, kept coming. That's not even what that was about. That was about forgiveness of infidelity. And it was just like, wow. And they literally had to go searching for a version that doesn't say forced a miscarriage. It was like, I don't know, use some other words, that was, like, less direct, and it was funny. I was just like, wow, dude, these people will just tie their brain into knots to not see what's on the fucking page. It's crazy. Star Song said, I saw you on my ex said, I saw you in chat on BB yesterday. My hello scrolled off the screen so fast, I don't think you got a chance to see it. Yeah, dude, the comments were going crazy on that. Man, that's the line. The line gets, like, it has to literally go in slow mode, because there's so many people that, it can't even handle it, because it's like one of the biggest skeptic channels in existence, Let's see here. Deep State said they missed verse because they are willfully ignorant of it. Yeah, well, and it disagrees with what they'd like to believe in the first place. So, like, they've been so thoroughly conditioned that being against abortion is intrinsically tied to Christianity, which it absolutely isn't, and wasn't ever until the 70s, I think, was when they really started pushing this narrative. Because, again, like, it accomplishes several things for the right wing. Like we were saying, like, it vilifies people for not living according to their religion, right? It forces women to have consequences, right? Whether it be that they just, they have to give it up to adoption and go through that whole emotional roller coaster nightmare, they have to go through all of that. It's like, and it's trying to force them to do that, to have to go through some kind of, like, well, this is what you get. This is what you get for having sex. Okay. Not following my religion, even though you don't believe in it, so that you get that. Then the other thing is that they know most people aren't going to do that. They know most people aren't going to give it up for adoption, right? They're going to keep it. And then they're just going to be that much more desperate, because they don't want to do anything. The conservatives don't want to let you do anything to allow the government to help out people that have children that they can't afford to take care of. You know, they want to do absolutely nothing. So they're just like trying to force people to be desperate so that they have to do everything they're told and keep their head down, and that's it. Sorry.
And yeah, Rogan is pointing that out here in real time. Like this is a shot at the new atheist. This is a shot at Sam Harris. This is a shot at these people who've intentionally leaned in more and more to remove religion. And
which is so funny that it's a shot at Sam Harris. Like, oh my God, it's like almost like they haven't listened to Sam Harris say anything lately, because he's completely anti-woke. You know, he constantly is talking about the woke. You know, like it's so funny when they're like, the secularism leads to just all the wokies, you know, the wokeness gone crazy. Yet we have two of the four of the four horsemen are complete fucking right-wing assholes, you know. Sam Harris and Dawkins are both like anti-woke and, you know, all this shit. Like, so no, it's like they can't even make their points without it being so obviously false. Like, if you just like throw any kind of example at them and they'll be like, oh shit, yeah, I guess it doesn't lead to the woke. Whoops.
That got us. And I think Rogan's waking up to that.
And that's not necessarily true, because you see the way people behave in war. They don't have any moral compass. They just
what?
And we've asked people in service of our country to go to these places and behave like, and then reintegrate in society. Right back into society and be a good person again. And they don't know how to do it, and they go crazy. And there's a lot of them who come back.
That doesn't have anything to do with necessarily the moral compass. It has everything to do with being like traumatized to like a motherfucker by what you're seeing happen right in front of your eyes. You know how hard it is to go back into society after you've been exposed to extreme violence right in front of your face? It's not easy, man. It's almost as if we weren't, you know, we shouldn't be seeing stuff like that, because our brains just can't fucking handle it, you know? And if they can, there's usually something wrong. Okay. Like, if you're just like totally cool with seeing stuff like that happen right in front of you, you probably got a problem with your frontal lobe or something, you know? Maybe took a severe blow to the head when you're young, like 90% of serial killers. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
And they're down is up and up is down. They don't know what the fuck.
And we don't help them out.
We don't help them out. And this rate is is it the number one killer of veterans?
Pretty sure. Yeah.
What? Suicide? Oh,
yeah. But
yeah, it's a fucked up world we live in. We need Jesus. I think, for real.
Wow.
Like a child. Like, do the applause one now. Do the applause. That's great, man. Look, he said we need Jesus. And I think he's being serious to some degree, but it's like tongue in cheek too. But he knows he's pandering to his audience, man. He's got the widest audience. He knows that like Christians make up the most. It's not necessarily it makes up the most of just society in general. It definitely makes up the most of his fucking audience. That's really what he's doing here. He's pandering to what he knows is a demographic that largely watches his program, even though I don't know how. Like, I don't know why, which is so funny that because he swears all the time, you know, but he says the stuff they like all the time. He's against the wokesters, those wokies, you know, and so they like that. And so I guess they'll put up with the language as long as it's as long as they're hating the right people, I guess. I don't know.
We need Jesus. And you best believe that's going on the thumbnail, and it's not clickbait. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Come on. Let's calm it down. All right. You're acting weird. All right. This is silly. Yeah, they're acting like
yes. We need Jesus.
We need Jesus.
We need therapy.
I think, for real. Like, if he came back now, it'd be great. Like, Jesus, if you're thinking about coming back
right now,
now's a good time.
Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah.
Now's a good time. We're kind of
he seems pretty confident.
Cool. Like, let's do it. Let's see it. And then when it doesn't, like, at what point of him not coming back can we be like, can we all agree this is bullshit yet? Can we all agree on this yet? Like, what point? And this is like another one of those things. And it's funny that Rogan was putting it this way, because this is another one of those instances where they're talking about it being, it's something necessary for the utility of society or whatever, not the truthfulness of it at all. That doesn't have anything to do with the truthfulness of Christianity. right? It's all about the functionality of morality. And even that they get completely wrong, because Christians have done disgusting immoral shit all throughout history, all using their objective moral standard that they walk around with their inside their little, bookbinder there, whatever, and it's clearly not worked historically to keep people from being awful, right? But it's not about the religion being true at all. It's all about it just being something that he's saying people should believe in because it'll make people behave better, which it just isn't even true. But it's also just what a useless fucking thing to say. I don't know.
Jesus came back that he'd be okay.
Wow.
He seems pretty confident that if Jesus has come back, he'd be okay. What does this mean about the private discussions going on behind the scenes?
Wow, you're dumb, dude. Like he's not he's not saying, he's like, that means he's a Christian then. Okay. If he's saying that we need, like, that Jesus could come back right now, then that means that he's made his heart right with the Lord. Because, he wouldn't be asking for Jesus to come back if he hadn't made his heart right with the Lord. No, man, he knows it's not true. That was his whole point. It's not that it's true. It's that it's helpful, or according to him, it's not. But he's saying it's helpful for moral, progress or whatever. Helpful for people to behave, societal, like for people to behave in society, like some type of standard, even though the standard is absurd.
Yeah. Wow. We definitely putting that on the soundboard. We got to get this up. Chris.
Wow.
Chris. We got to get this video
up. What is
up.
wrong with
Rogan
this guy?
said we need Jesus, and he was not being cute or funny about it.
That's crazy.
All right. Let's
This guy's like, I get no camera time at all. And so I'm going to just start shouting. I'm going to start shouting until I get some screen time. Okay. Hear that, Rusy? I call him Mercy because we're buddies. I have a special relationship with him. So I'm just gonna start screaming until you put the camera on my fucking face.
Play a little more of this.
All right.
There's a lot of people think that they might be coming.
Well, it might be.
Mark of the beast.
That might be the aliens. I mean, that might be what all this stuff is.
There you go.
It might be we reach a certain point where we're so.
Thanks, buddy. I'm so glad that you whip it back to make them all go, wait, what? Man, you were so close to agreeing with my religion. Aliens now? Come on. Damn it. We were like right there.
Unmanageable and so chaotic that something comes down and gives us a guideline. I mean, this is what Moses essentially experienced, supposedly, right? When he came back with his 10 commandments. This is supposedly what,
he's been reading.
These people that have had these religious visions.
The aliens gave him the 10 commandments. He's like, wow, this is exactly my religion. Joe Rogan is like totes on my religion because the alien thing that he's talking about.
Let's go, Joe.
Oh my God.
He's cooking. He went from Jesus to Moses coming down with the 10 commandments.
You missed the alien part in between those two, man. What happened? How did you choose not to hear that shit? Huh?
I was going to say, this happened already, but he beat me to it. Joe Rogan proclaiming the Moses and the law.
Oh my God. And now you stop it with the fucking thing, man. Like, that is so obnoxious. And you guys are way too excited about this. Okay. They're so excited they're not even listening to him. Because I feel like they're not getting what he's actually saying. Anyway.
Hey, Jesus, unironically, it wasn't a bit, ladies and gentlemen.
Stop. Seriously, one more time, I'm turning this.
All the religious visions where there's a way to do this.
Yeah,
there's a guide. There's a way to follow, and there's a greater power.
There's a king and there's a kingdom.
Everything that controls this whole thing and keeps it all together. And there's laws to adhere that will make for a much better life for all humans, all life on Earth.
How does any of the 10 commandments do that? Like, tell me, like, other than there's like what, 3, right? There's 3. It's like, don't kill, don't steal, and don't lie or whatever, right? Which the ironic part is like the lying one, bearing false witness is like what all Christians do all the time because they're always running around acting like they know stuff they couldn't possibly know, which is a lie. If you repeat something that you don't know if it's true, but you just want to think it, that's a lie, man. That's dishonesty, right? That's bearing false fucking witness, And like, what's the other one? Okay. And then the first one, like the very first commandment is thou shalt have no other gods before me, right? We can't, that's not functional. How the fuck can we function with that shit? Oh, so no, I'm like worshiping other gods is a problem now, which basically just vilifies every other culture. every other anything, right? Because if you look at like I covered this this Fred Durst looking guy who's a Calvinist, and like his whole thing is just finding problems with other YouTube Christians and then saying that they're false teachers, and then and it's like and then saying that they don't worship the right God, which is a violation of the first commandment according to him. So it's so it's just so problematic. Like just even the first one is just, it's not only is it not helpful, it's actively fucking harmful to our society.
Hope is a memory of the future. It's this shit matters.
Yeah.
That
it does matter.
Yeah, like everything we do matters. I think if atheists, I think, can find their own religion. It might be religion of science or religion of climate change or whatever it might be, but to not believe in a
religion of science, the religion of climate change. How do you have those two things as two different categories, right? He's like, there's the religion of science, and then there's also the religion of climate change. Now, science is just the study, the study of how the world functions, just at all. It really, science means knowledge, just knowing about stuff, experimenting, objectively trying to determine what is actually true, how things actually work in the world, right? And then, but apart from that, there's also the religion of climate change, which is just something, which is something that the people that are scientists have come to conclusions about that is very, very demonstrative as far as like the evidence goes, right? But that somehow is another category separate from science. Like what the like, it's like they don't know. I don't know. They just are trying to make anything they don't believe a religion for some reason, because it's almost like they know that religion is shitty. That's why they're always, and they know that their stuff is stupid. It's weird. It's like and then they try to vilify the atheist by flipping it on them. That's why they're always trying to call atheists religious. They're always trying to say, oh, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Okay, so you're saying that faith is irrational then, right? Well, yeah. That's why I'm just saying you're the irrational one for doing it, for doing faith, your thing, the thing that you think is a good thing. It's all of a sudden now a bad thing when you try to vilify the person you disagree with. You don't get how irrational that is, that you're like, oh no, it's good as long as it's my thing. But the atheist, they're the ones doing the irrational stuff, even though that's my thing.
Higher power means that really nothing I do matters. Ultimately, I live, I die. That's it.
Why do they keep saying this? Nothing I do matters. What the fuck does the word like? Okay, the word matters has to be in the context of somebody. It matters to somebody. There isn't anything that matters to nobody, okay? Because then it wouldn't matter to at all, right? Because the word something mattering has to be, in the context of a person, it mattering to somebody, and it's like they never seem to get this. And things do matter to atheists, God damn, it's like a lot of things matter to me, man. I care about all sorts of shit. It's just not attached to like why we were, why the universe exists, right? It's not like what I think matters has to be attached to the reason that all of reality exists, because that's not reasonable as far as I can tell. But things matter to us, just like things matter to you, Mr. Christian. It's and you're like saying that like it only matters to you because you're a Christian. Imagine being so brainwashed, that you can't tell, like that you feel like if you don't believe, like you've been so conditioned to believe your religion is so important that if you happen to question it or think that maybe it's not true one day, nothing will matter. Nothing matters at all. It's all just, we could just start murdering, because that's wow, that's some deep fucking brainwashing going on, man. That's insane. Because like that's why I always ask these people, when they say, oh, the reason that I don't want to hurt people is because we're all made in God's image, which to me that's a non sequitur. Like that doesn't lead to, okay, we're all made in God's image, therefore I better not hurt people. Like how do you go from this to that? It doesn't really make sense. But I always have to ask them, so if you found out tomorrow that maybe that verse was added or something, right? Or that somebody, that verse, there was a mistranslation, that verse actually isn't in the Bible. It means something completely different, right? would you then believe that people don't matter? Or would you find some other reason to believe that other humans matter? And that they always are like, but it is true though. It's like they can't even, I'm like, okay, I get that thought experiment, dude. All right, here's how this works. It's a hypothetical. If you figure that out, are you saying that you? And then a lot of times they'll just go the complete opposite. Oh yeah, I just start killing people. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. If nothing matters, nothing matters. Okay. Then there's no right and wrong. If God is not there, then I got no problem with prison for the rest of my life. So, it's like, come on, man. Like, I wish that they could be honest for just like 2 fucking seconds with themselves, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
So whatever purpose you might have, it's short-lived. It's just for this. There's nothing else going on.
Okay, so as long as it's not eternal, as long as your existence isn't eternal, nothing matters, because you're just gonna die one day. It's like they say, like it's like saying like you drive a car, like it's like it doesn't, there's no point in having a car because it's just gonna break down one day. It's like, okay, but what about right now? When it's not broken down, what about that? That doesn't matter at all because it's gonna break down one day. Okay, you know what? I can't talk to you. It's like
I have a hard time with that because I believe there's a seen world and an unseen world, and there's forces of good and forces of evil, and that there's a purpose for all this, and there's there's a lot of reasons why we're doing this. There's a lot of opportunities
that nobody can demonstrate what that purpose is. Everybody believes that, but nobody can demonstrate like what it is. It's kind of funny. It just is like, okay, and who, like, okay, great, you think that. So what? So because to me, believing something like that leads you more likely, I'd say, to harming other people if you believe that this ultimate purpose or whatever is tied to harming this person. If you believe in your head that, hey, the purpose of the universe, the purpose of everything is communicating with me that I need to hurt this person, then they'd be willing to do that, right? Because, they think that the purpose of everything is so much more important than that person's well-being, And so that's why this type of shit is actually more dangerous, and convincing people that, cult-like belief systems that like, oh, you guys are the special ones. You figured it out. You're the ones that figured out the reason for life or whatever, the meaning of life, that is like basically tied to why we exist at all, which is likely the case. It doesn't, who knows, but it's probably not on purpose as far as I could tell. It definitely doesn't seem on purpose. We can only inhabit 10% of the planet that was made just for us. And then I don't even go into the cosmos and everything we can't survive in out there. But anyway.
To do this, I'd like to get it right this time around.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice. But if there is the Christianity part and Jesus wants to come back and save everything,
it'd be good right around now.
Yeah.
Like, don't wait till the election. Don't wait.
Listen, I'm taking it back, ladies and gentlemen. That was me going in blind into that conversation. But I think obviously Rogan is right. I think you guys have been.
He's right. The aliens are the one gave us the 10 Commandments, and they just, they seen that we were on our way to like, thinking and possibly would be like splitting an atom in a few thousand years. So they're like, here's some rules from a mountain, a lightning storm mountain. Here you go, buddy. That from aliens. It's like aliens. Why? I don't know how you miss. Anyway,
giving us all kinds of crap for pointing out all the obvious ways Joe Rogan has incrementally been going over to
pander to his Christian conspiracy idiot audience. Yes,
I would say a pretty clear exploration, fascination, curiosity about Jesus, to now him flat out saying we need Jesus. Someone is behind the scenes having these conversations with him.
No, it's in front of the scenes, man. It's in front of the scenes. He just keeps on having the same wackos on the channel, and he wants them to like say good things about him to their individual audiences so that they all flock to his audience, because that's how that goes. And so he's pandering. That's all it is. Let's see here. What do we got? Amber said they don't actually read their own book. You mean? Yeah, that is exactly what I mean. Yes. Yep, and that. Yes, absolutely. Deep State said Deep State Annex. I like that name. Rogan is also a smooth brain moron. I always make it like a smooth brain, and like, because it sounds like it's going to be a compliment, like, but then it isn't a compliment. Like, Joe Rogan is smooth brained idiot. That's it. I love it. That's how you insult somebody. You make them think, oh, they're gonna be nice, and then you knock them down. You build them up and knock them. That's how you do it. Okay, that's deep state knows how to insult people. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Yes, please join the Discord. I put not only this link here is in the thingamadoo, but we also, I did a photo recently. It was like kind of advertising that if you make art, there's an art section of our Discord, and I'll use that stuff for different overlay. I'm kind of updating some of my overlays and stuff right now. So if you want, just it doesn't have to be anything, right? I mean, if it's like the more punky it looks, the better, because that's kind of the aesthetic that looks good with our channel, right? But yeah, I will. I'm gonna take it and turn it into whatever, the different overlays that I can use, for the show. So yeah, so if you want to go in and do that, it's a lot of fun, and it's AI art and everything, just anything you got. Hey, Maya said, sorry, I always speak if I see your messages. Oh, that's sweet. Which is true. I feel like that is accurate. Maya will always say hi if she sees you in there. And say, hey, Michael, good to see you. See, she's doing it right now. That's easy. There's proof, evidence right there. Proof. See, she'll do it. Star Song said, Ember is discouraged. It's discouraged lest they understand and leave the faith. Oh, I see. It's discouraged. Yeah, because okay. So you're talking about reading the holy book. Yeah, it is. It's funny how discouraged it is, but they encourage it to a particular degree. But you have to read the words on the page and then act like they say something different than the words on the page say. As long as you do that, then they can encourage you to read the Bible. But if you start acting like the words on the page say what the words on the page say, then they're like, hey, what are you doing, man? You're reading the Bible wrong. You're supposed to act like those verses are of love, that Jesus wants you to hate your parents. Okay. Because you love him so much in comparison. Hello. It's like so stupid. It's like, no, man, those verses were put there to get you away from your family or anybody that would be like, maybe you shouldn't be following this weirdo that you think is magical in the desert, dude. Maybe you shouldn't hate that person, hate them. If they, in fact, go get a sword, and if they say you shouldn't follow me, then get that sword out, man. Stars outside. Maya, don't be sorry. It wasn't your fault. Yeah. Well, maybe I think it was her fault. Maya has a lot more control of the chat, being visible than we realize. Okay. She has some mind powers going on there. So I think you're giving her a pass when maybe you shouldn't. All right. Logan said, the jokes had a common designer. What? Which jokes? Okay, I don't know. Wait, what was the last thing Logan said? Well, he just said LOL. That's not helpful at all. I don't what is it? This is where I just have a hardest time figuring out what you guys are talking about. Okay. The jokes had a common designer. Yeah, what humanity, right? Humanity. We have common existence with other humans. I don't know what you mean. Eat Cheetos with chopsticks. Problem. Oh, that's actually that's a really fucking good idea. I don't know why. Damn, that would solve so many problems for me. Right. Thank you. Yeah, Jer. You have just added like 10 pounds to my weight with that one message right there. Because that is like 90% why I don't get those things very often. Now, if we could do you have a trick for keeping the Butterfinger stuff from sticking to your teeth? If you haven't, is there maybe like teeth chopsticks that you can bite with? I don't know. Maybe just help me out with that one. Maybe some veneers, some of those Wish veneers, that cost like $6 to get a brand new smile. That might work. I don't know. But I'm gonna need that solved by the end of the day, if you can. Let's see here. Michael said, hi, Angier. Hey, that's what I was saying. Star Song said, hello, Angier. Everybody's saying hey, Angier. She's pretty great. Very helpful. Just funny too, Sometimes I hate it when the comments are more funny than the show, but what are you gonna do? I guess it still adds to the overall comedy. Anyway, Star Song said, I wonder how the big Cheeto would feel if it was being eaten with chopsticks. I mean, that's what you're concerned with, like odd stuff there. I was like, well, how would it make the Cheeto feel though? I don't know. I think it would be much more comfortable in a couple of fingers than a couple of sticks crushing it. They're just hurting its ribs, probably just bruising ribs even on its way down your throat. What are you doing? That's so funny. Cheeto's just like, no, can you just use your hands, please? Just use your hands, okay? I'm just like a Cheeto, man. I'm just a Cheeto. I don't want to be crushed by sticks, okay? There, I was working on that voice. That was fun. Anyway, Deep State said, whoever came up with the Matrix red pill, blue pill bullshit, or the idea of the Matrix at all, unleashed a wave of mental illness onto the world. Well, the funny thing with that, I mean, you're right. I popularized it, I'd say. But that concept, I guess like the sci-fi part of it is was kind of a new thing. But I mean, this is like solipsism, right? Or hard solipsism. Isn't that like the notion that created the Matrix, right? The problem of hard solipsism or whatever, and believing that you could just be a brain in a vat being fed information. And it's just kind of like a thought experiment sort of thing. So that kind of just so you know what you can prove and what you can't, and like what your perception versus like reality, and how that the relationship between those two. But yeah, the concept I think has existed for fucking long time. But you are right that it was popularized by that movie. And I remember it's funny that you said that, because like a lot of people at church at the time when it came out were like, oh, you should go see it. It's a metaphor for like the spirit world and Jesus and stuff, right? Because they have some like throwaway lines throughout where they're like, oh, it's like you're my own personal Jesus Christ. He dies and comes back at the end. There's a betrayer. Like there's a lot of like a lot of like similarities to the Jesus story and everything. And it's kind of like seeming like this might be kind of metaphorical, but I remember people at church though, like you had the group of the people who were like, you should go see it. It's a great metaphor for Christianity. You can use it to witness. And then other people were like, this is going to create a whole nother religion. Don't tell people to go see it. It was so funny to hear these people. And I hadn't even seen it yet. So everybody was having these debates at church. And I was like, because it was rated R when it came out for some reason. I have no idea why it was rated R. Because they don't say any F words or anything like that. I heard that it was because they went through with the trench coats on and shot up the bank, and it was too close to the time of a mass shooting that was very similar. But yeah, I just remember I wasn't allowed to see it, and everybody was like arguing about it, and I'm like, what even is the fuck about? I was so mad. I was like pulling my hair out, and nobody would tell me. Like, I'm like, what does it mean? What is the Matrix? And nobody would tell me. You just got to see it, bro. You just got to. I'm not allowed to say. Okay, the movie said don't tell anybody. So you just got to. You can just die of curiosity because you can't. You're not allowed to go see it. Because of some black trench coats scene. Like. But yeah, so that was an interesting thing. But yeah, I think it's basically just like a philosophical problem of knowledge that has been kind of turned into a movie, right? Star Song said, Logan, what about monkey embryos or sheep embryos? Are they human now too? Well, I mean, if we're talking about these people, it has to align with their religion. So no. Because humans are not members of the animal kingdom at all. Okay. We are especially, like just dropped here by the magical, undetectable being that looks exactly like us, apparently, because we are made in his image, which obviously, I mean, look how much look how much we look just like him. See, that's how you know he made it. But yeah, no, I mean, definitely not the monkeys thing, because they'll get mad at you for that. We did not come from monkeys. We did not. That is an irrational. That takes faith to believe humans came from monkeys. That is just ridiculous. And it's apes, by the way. Like, and we just already are an ape. It's not like that's just what we are. It's like saying a Chevrolet is not a car. You know, it's anyway. It's categorically anyway. Michael said, one state is pushing for the death penalty for abortion. Fuck, what? Jesus Christ. Oh my God damn. It's crazy when they can like make laws that make you accidentally a fucking murderer, you know, because, you know, you did the thing that we have to do to propagate the fucking species, and they want to act like, you know, not giving birth is the same thing as literally murdering somebody. That is just, and they want to give the fucking death penalty. Like, this always reminds me, there's this lady, I think she was in, this poor lady, she was in fucking was it Texas? It's one of the first ones to ban abortion just outright. And she was, you know, she was a user, a meth user, used drugs a lot and everything. Obviously was, you know, just doing what normal humans do and was having sex and everything. Didn't realize that she got pregnant and then had a miscarriage, but because she was doing the drugs, they blamed her for the miscarriage. And then now she's in prison for murder because she did drugs when she was pregnant. Unfucking real. I was just like, this is insane, dude. And when does this stop, dude? Like, when does it, like, at what point, like, do we have to, like, are you going to provide the fucking diet they're allowed to eat now? Why don't you just put the pregnant woman in a fucking bubble and feed her just government allowed? She only can eat government cheese. She can't eat any spicy foods. She's not allowed to eat anything that's like, not pre-approved by the fucking Christians, because it might lead to the fetus not, being born or whatever. Like, how far does this go? At what point does the woman get her body back? For fuck's sake, man. It's just so gross. And like, just how, sorry, I'm not trying to be angry today, but God damn it, I'm angry about that. Fucking Star Song said, I hear it all the time from religious people. Since I grew up in that environment, I understand the mindset. Yeah, me too. It's just, because they look at everything from a very specific point of view, and it's that point of view is spostas. It's everything is in spostas, right? And that's like the conservative worldview too. Everything's supposed to go exactly the way that they want it to go, and if anything doesn't go the way that they believe that it's supposed to go, then that's wrong, it's evil, it's bad, right? So if you're a particular gender, you have to behave a particular way because your genders are supposed to be like this and be like that. And, abortion is bad because you're not supposed to have sex outside of marriage. And, it's all about the spostas, man. Like, their whole thing is everybody's supposed to do what I say they're supposed to do. And if they don't, then they should be held like legally liable for it, be held responsible legally for not being what I think everybody's supposed to be. The truth is, supposed to according to who? And who according to what? Like, you can say God all you want, but unless you can demonstrate that it actually exists and demonstrate that you know what it is saying and communicating, and that's something like you have to be able to demonstrate that, though. I don't mean just pointing to a Bible and saying that that's totally God's word or whatever. No, I mean demonstrate that it is actually God's word, that not even that demonstrate that your interpretation of that God's word is accurate, right? Because it's obviously being interpreted 1.5 million different fucking ways, right? It's so frustrating. But they get to decide what everybody's allowed to do. Specifically women with their own bodies, or people with uteruses and their own bodies as well. It's fucking insane. Sorry, Song said, don't confuse me with facts. Doctrine rules all. That's right. Let's see. What was the question? Oh, yeah. Oh, about the embryos. Got it. Amber said, fill that void with giggity, 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 giggity. All right. That's right. Ember said, who said there's a void? Exactly. There isn't one. That's the thing. They're just convincing you that there is a void, right? Because they need you to believe that you need things, right? They need you to believe that you need something because they can't, because it serves their them, their cult reasons, that's all it is. Like, oh, if I can get them to keep coming back to the cult because that's what they need, then that'll be that'll fix that problem or whatever, you know what I mean? And then they don't understand how many other problems just getting that into people's heads causes, because that's why a lot of people turn towards drugs and stuff. They believe that they can't handle life on their own because they've been programmed to believe that they can't handle life. When if we were taught people like self-reliance, and taught kids like, hey, you can handle it. It's okay. You'll be all right. There's all of these resources available for you to be able to handle reality, and you got therapy, you got, all this type of stuff. But you can rely on yourself. It's okay. In fact, you kind of have to, because there's nothing else there, and chemical stuff you shouldn't rely on. It's not helpful, got to be able to be self-reliant, and of course they want to program that out of their congregants, Star Song said, which empty place? I would only have a void in my heart if I lose too much blood. That's right. Yeah, that's that'd be a problem. You have that kind of void in the heart. Sounds like somebody's bleeding out. All right, that's Logan said. Ironically, wanting to be without God in Spanish is just want to sin. No way, really? That's like the that's funny. So like the language puts it that way. That's so interesting. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna do one or two more. I got people working on the yard now, so it's gonna get too loud and I gotta go. But let's see. Star Song said, didn't become an atheist because I wanted to be without God. I became convinced the God I was raised to worship didn't exist. Exactly. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with it just not making sense, not like being in accordance with reality. It doesn't have anything to do with what I want, whether I want to sin or not. It doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with how I determine if a magical, undetectable being exists or not. Let's see. Amber said, let's have the God boys vote. One nonsense. What? Let's have the God boys vote. Oh, okay. One nonsense. No takesies, backsies. Then we can debunk that myth and be done. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Force all of the religions to vote. And then whoever wins, you all got to just go with that one. But yeah, positives. What positives? Exactly. Positives of religious belief. There's none. That's not a thing. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, exactly. All right, y'all. Well, hey, I got to pack it in, for today because I got these people about to make a ton of noise outside. But if you want to become, if you want to pack it in to somebody's butt or something, and get your butt some stuff, go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Just go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley. That's BRENTLY at checkout to get your exclusive offer. The packaging is discreet. And yes, I personally endorse this product or several of the products. I'm not going to say exactly which products it is. Okay. But I have used lots of the products. Okay. And I'm not going to freak you out with what that means. All right. But I do use the products quite a bit. I actually get a pretty good discount because of this little deal here. And I can tell you it's 100% worth it every time. But so yeah, go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, free shipping on the whole order, and the packaging is discreet. If you want to support the show in some other ways, you can go to patreon.com/punkapostate. I try to put as much stuff up there as I can. We have a method actually where you can become a patron for a little bit, and then you just want to pay a little bit at the beginning. You could be like a free patron for a bit. I'm still going to be doing that for a little bit. It's But yeah, so right now you can take advantage of that. So that way I can have more people, up there that get to see the extra stuff. But it's mostly just if you want to support what we do here, and it really does help. Any bit helps at this point, But hey, the main thing though is to stay loving, logical, skeptical, and compassionate. And we'll see you next time.